All right. Hello and welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I have a really special guest today with a really special name. I've got Brandon joining me here. So, Brandon, how are you?
Great, Brandon. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always nice to meet another Brandon. And yeah, if you would just give the people a little bit of information, just quickly who you are, what you do.
Sure. My name is Brandon Owens. I'm a clean energy expert. I've been involved in clean energy for sadly over 25 years. Started my career at the National Renewable Energy Lab. I've had executive level roles at General Electric. Now I run a consultancy called AIX Energy, which explores the intersection and convergence of AI technologies with energy infrastructure. I run a website, a platform called AIXenergy. Where we explore that intersection, do a ton of research in that area, and invite everyone to check it out. And I'm glad to talk about all the different threads around that today.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great accomplishment! That's one of the reasons why I was really happy to reach out and just to kind of understand a little bit about that more. So the AIX energy, you're mapping how AI is reshaping energy infrastructure and demand. I mean, if you could just because I mean this isn't my expertise. Like, what's one insight that maybe might be shocking to some, maybe even even in the energy sector, that's kind of maybe difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are aware that it's happening, but I think what most people don't fully grasp, even in the energy sector, is the sheer scale and speed in AI's power appetite. I mean, for decades, utilities have built their forecasts around 1% to 2% annual load growth, and this is spread across years of planning. And these power plants take decades to construct, and so you're talking about long planning cycles. And AI has just changed the game. The numbers tell the story. The International Energy Agency is predicting that demand growth doubles by 2030. We speak in terms of terawatt hours, so we're expecting 945 terawatt hours of increased electricity demand by 2030. That's more than Japan's electricity use. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
data centers are changing the game.
yeah.
There's just a tremendous amount of growth that's really disrupting everything. And they can't build them fast enough. So it's unsettling to an
Yeah.
industry that's used to planning in decades, that's now having to accommodate this massive change in demand.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane for me to even wrap my head around. I mean, are we cooked? Like, what do we do? And like, yeah, I saw that statistic as well. Like, yeah, in 2030, I mean, this is going to be crazy. So with, AI data centers eating up, all of this energy, is there like a plan in place, or are we just kind of throwing some Hail Marys?
Well, we speak in terms of gigawatts in the electricity business. So, data centers use about 4 gigawatts today. So a large power plant might be 800 megawatts. So you're going from 4 gigawatts to 123 gigawatts by 2035. So we're not cooked, but we need to find the power somewhere. And so, there are a lot of plans to build a lot of plants. The hyperscalers, the Amazons, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Metas, they're trying to figure out what to do. They're contracting with power plant owners to build their own plants. They're doing a lot of on-site power. So there's a mad dash.
Mm,
There's a land grab to
mm,
figure out how to build these power plants that, in some cases, are dedicated just to the AI data centers.
mhm.
Data centers themselves, you have a data center that will itself consume 300 megawatts of power. Okay. And this is 24/7 load in a lot of cases. And so it's really a transitional moment that electric power industry is going through.
Indeed, indeed. And it looks like you've created this, through AIX Energy, you've created this convergence map that it uses intelligence briefings for investors and utilities and regulators. I guess what has been kind of the most surprising reaction you've received from some decision makers who utilizing the tool, or what insights are they seeing that's
Yeah.
kind of amazing?
Yeah. Well, so you have, one of the reasons that I created that platform, AX Energy, is because there's a lot of different threads and a lot of different aspects in the convergence of AI and energy. One of them is what we just talked about, the incredible amount of load or demand that AI is creating and how to deal with that. Another is how to integrate AI into all of the operations of all the different stakeholders, investors, utilities, all the different ways that AI can play. And so we built these convergence maps to help utilities and others kind of figure out, well, how do I use AI? And there's lots of different aspects to this. And the reaction is it's not really a surprise. MIT just came out with a report that said 95% of all AI projects are either failing or they're not generating any return. And so everyone's sort of asking, like, how do we actually get this stuff to work? Where's the return? A lot of AI projects, it's supposed to be revolutionary, but they're just not seeing it yet. And so, how do we get this AI convergence to work? What's it going to look like? There's a lot of projects that are stalled out in AI purgatory. And so, everyone's trying to kind of figure their way through this. We know it's going to be a transformation, but no one really knows how to get to the other side just yet.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And in fact, I just read an article, Salesforce is having a big layoff. At the same time, they're saying, they're going to be able to automate things through AI. At the same time, you're not really seeing the productivity benefits in AI. And so, a lot of organizations are going through
A lot
AI
of
growing.
issues. Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
AI growing pains is a great way of putting it. Yeah, I mean, there's so much is supposed to be automated, and you got all these mass layoffs at some of these, wonderful companies that we interface with. I work for a startup, and it's like, yeah, there's oh, you're not going to lose your job. What was the quote? You're not going to lose your job to AI, but you're going to lose your job to someone who knows how to utilize AI. And then we're trying to figure out, like, how do we best go about this, and where is that real ROI there? I mean, it just seems like, yeah, AI purgatory is here, and hopefully not here to stay. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. We haven't figured it out. I mean, in theory, there could be job losses if AI can, you know, be more productive, but it doesn't seem like we figured that part of the equation out yet. We certainly haven't figured it out in the electric sector.
I was just curious because you mentioned that as well, and I think that quote was brought up recently, or yesterday. I think they had a meeting at the White House, and I was just curious. They've established this AI education task force. And I guess they did this earlier this year, and it just kind of made me think about, like, from at a federal level, kind of like, the DOE, or, in regards to this AI energy convergence. I mean, I guess, is there something at the federal level that can be done to kind of help promote either something to kind of on a trajectory that's going to help us solve some of these issues? Or, I mean, maybe there's already some plan in place that I'm just not, privy to. But I was curious maybe what your thoughts might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky issue. I mean, what I didn't see in that curriculum is anything on AI governance or the ethical use of AI in society. You know, the reality is it's not just software. It's now becoming embedded in our critical systems, our grids, our hospitals, our schools, our markets. And when AI is begins to start making decisions that influences those systems, the questions that we're going to start to run into are not technical, they're going to be ethical. Who's accountable when algorithms start prioritizing one community over another? How do we
Mm,
ensure AI advances equity instead
mm,
of replicating injustices? I mean, this next generation is going to have to deal with issues around AI, ethics, accountability, governance, right along with the technical skills. So there's a whole nother layer of AI education that we're going to have to start to contend with.
mm.
It's a little more complicated than just teaching prompt engineering at the K through 12 level. So
Yeah.
I do applaud that, and we need to figure that out. But there's sort of also going to be higher level issues that we're going to need to work into that curriculum at some point.
I saw a podcast that you did recently, or it might not have been a podcast. It might have been just a clip that you made or quoted or something. But you had just mentioned this idea of bias and equity, as
Yep.
it relates to that, and there was something in there that you said about, the decision being, how AI could unintentionally replicate past injustices, like with underserved communities and stuff like that. And that kind of hit home. I was like, oh wow, that makes sense. That's something I would never even thought of.
Yeah, that has to do with governance, particularly when we start embedding AI into the grid. That was a podcast on Five Convergences report. We looked at AI as an ethical challenge, and this is a big issue because as I said, it's moving very fast, but also need to embed rules into the system as AI starts to govern things like the grid.
Mhm.
And we need to start to get regulatory bodies involved as
Mm,
well. So the risk isn't that AI malfunctions like in some sort of science fiction movie. It's
mm,
that it works as it's designed, but it ends up optimizing for the wrong things. And so I talk about outage restoration that brings a warehouse back online because it's optimizing for economic output instead of a hospital,
right.
or it's underinvesting in low income neighborhoods because the historic demand was low there. And these aren't hypotheticals. These are things that will actually get programmed into the system.
Mm,
And so you need governance frameworks. I'm actually working on some of those governance frameworks, but you need ethical governance systems built into AI. This is the danger is that we're just moving too rapidly
yeah,
as we start to embed AI across these critical systems, not just energy, but all of the infrastructure.
indeed. Well, I mean, yeah, that's something. I mean, it's very interesting. And again, like I said, I'm not, I'm not an expert in this field, but I am curious of like, where this governance is going to start, and I guess who needs to be put in charge of it. I'm sure that they need to get on that ASAP because I mean, with autonomous
Yeah,
driving vehicles, the robots coming along, and then all of these are on the same,
yeah,
network, we could create the opposite of a utopia pretty quickly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could get dystopian
Yeah.
where the grid's in control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we need leadership. We need transparency in the power sector. Utilities should be required to disclose when and where they're deploying AI. There's a report by Rand that calls for the DOE to get involved. We need validation. We need testing models, particularly when there's physical equipment involved. We need audits, continuing model monitoring. We need uh, diverse data sets. We need explicit protections. We need coalitions. We need DOE involved, NERC, FERC. And so there's just a lot of work that needs to be done. And,
Indeed.
and my fear is that it's a little bit of a runaway train, and there's you sort of no conductor in charge.
Yeah.
That's why I'm writing about it and speaking about it and trying to come up with something. And that, in a sense, is what AIX Energy is about, to try to create, a water cooler so we can start to congregate and have those sorts of discussions.
Awesome. And I mean, it sounds like you're really, looking to scale and make serious change, and you see where the change needs to be made, and you're looking to build and create something that's really going to help, kind of propel us forward. So, I mean, maybe just shifting gears a little bit as the founder and chief architect. I mean, maybe what struggles have you seen as you, kind of started to build this company to scale it? What, I don't know, regulations or struggles were you met with, and maybe just a quick word of motivation for like-minded folks who are, budding entrepreneurs or who want to, create some type of meaningful impact in the same sector. Yeah, just an interesting story there that might give somebody some hope for this future, for this
Yeah.
non-dystopian future.
Yeah. No, I have a positive sort of big picture vision for this. But I run into the look anytime someone wants to sort of make a positive impact, you run into the exact same thing. I mean, there's just so much noise out there. You can't get anyone's attention, and attention spans are limited. So you just have to do what you think is right, and stick with it, and really not get discouraged. And so I'm really glad to have this conversation with you and to be on your podcast. So I appreciate that
I really appreciate
very
it.
much. Yeah, but when I look ahead, I see a future where AI can play a really positive role, and it can be an accelerator in human progress, particularly in the realm of energy.
Mm,
And we've seen this story before. With the arrival of electricity in the late 19th century, it rewrote what it meant to live, to work, to prosper. Cities lit up at night, factories were retooled, homes grew safer, healthier, entire economies surged toward a brighter future because we had the new form of power in daily life. And I think today we're at a moment that's every bit as transformative. And so I see a world where AI can make clean energy abundant, can make it more affordable, it can make it more accessible, where the grid is more of a living organism, where it can anticipate storms before they strike.
mm,
It can heal itself after an outage,
mm,
and it can adapt to the flow of renewable energy. It can help us with decarbonization. So, when I zoom out, I see the convergence of AI and energy creating abundance and equity, and a future where innovation doesn't concentrate power, but it spreads power and it helps everything be more equitable and prosperous. And so you see a lot of doom and gloom about AI taking over, but I think if we do this right, it's going to lead us to a better future.
Well, you give me hope. You gave me hope with that because yeah, you get six in one, half a dozen in the other with the doom and gloom versus the the positive outlook. And yeah, I agree, and I'm hopeful. I'm an optimist. So looking forward, I'd love that to be the case. And you're right. We're at a pivotal moment that doesn't happen very often, in a lifetime. So I'm here and I'm a part of it. We all are, and hopefully we add something positive to these exciting times in a way that they'll propel humanity forward and do something good.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, Brandon, I thank you so much. I know you are extremely busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I always like to give it at the end. If you'd like to shout anything out, let the people know where they can find you. Obviously, we're going to go check out AIX Energy, the website, but anything else? Any parting words?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on and invite everyone to axenergy.io and just to be part of the conversation. A lot of the content there is free, so you don't have to subscribe or pay to subscribe, but really want everyone to be part of the conversation and just get educated so we all can move things together in a positive direction.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, you heard it here. Thank you so much, Chief. And I thank you all for listening. Hope you guys got something really wonderful out of it. And until next time, thanks so much for joining us.